this episode of The Boss Lady.
I don't like to crowd the houses, and because of that, I like to leave the space. This company was started when I chose to go to the US for a year, just a year. Put accent pieces that I feel are really nice to look at. I grew so quickly, but even then, without knowing it was a business that I could say this is a business, I had never heard of this model of business before. I am Sally Ibeere, the CEO and founder of One Residence Limited. One Residence does luxury homes, and you're watching The Boss Lady.
There is a quote on interior design by Albert Hadley that goes, "The essence of interior design will always be about the people and how they live." It is about the realities of what makes an attractive, civilized, meaningful environment, and not about fashion and the ins and outs. When I met today's boss lady, this quote rang so much in my head. Who am I talking about? Born in Meru, Kenya, Sally Ibeere Grenapin spent the better part of her early education and secondary education in Meru and Embu town. At the age of 7, she always wanted a life out of that village. She always had her eyes looking further from just that village. She became a teacher briefly at Kenyatta University, but quickly transitioned to an entrepreneur, which she acclaims was her calling. At the UK, she studied tourism, marketing, and journalism. She believes every school she went to was preparing her for her business, which made her debut in business on a project called Skypix. Her passion for interior design grew well after she went to the UK. She lets us in into how she established her interior design company, One Residence, that is well known on their signature shabby chic style. But first, a little history on this type of interior design. Cavemen used to decorate their dwellings with basic drawings, which lead us to believe that was interior design. Different tribes to this day still use natural materials such as wood, mud, and animal skins to fashion themselves a comfortable and functional home. Egyptians were known for their ornate murals, which acted as beautiful documents that detailed their beliefs, history, and way of life. After ancient Egypt fell to the Romans and Greeks, cities were drastically changed due to the Greek and Roman tastes in architectural style. Democracy and more civilized way of life allowed normal citizens to show their personal tastes through interior design. The focus for many large-scale buildings was based around religion, with carvings, tapestries, and murals which stretched over entire ceilings and walls. Beauty and function were equally important. From Baroque's artistic exaggeration to the Industrial Revolution to Art Deco and Art Nouveau, interior design opened up to the common man. Interior design was influenced by a mixture of styles from around the world as travel became more accessible. This eventually led to the age of eclecticism, which drew these styles together to create personality and character. Modernism and postmodernism soon followed. Designers became famous faces rather than behind-the-scenes workers. As countries recovered from war, there was a return to prosperity and a large influx in suburban sprawls. Vintage styles were starting to be revived, with shabby chic design being so appealing to many. This style strikes the perfect balance between feeling relaxed and looking pulled together. It puts forth an artistic yet elegant vibe, plus gives the designer plenty of freedom to bring their own spin to the table. Today, It can be fair to say that we still are in an eclecticism era, as all vintage continues to be teamed with modern features. After thousands of years of groundwork, people can now play and experiment with a whole host of styles to create their perfect homes. Rather than uniformity, interior design is now fast-paced with seasonal trends and focus for the coming year. Sally's style is more of a shabby chic look. We will see her in her element, but first, here are a few things you need to know about her. How did one residence home start?
This company was started when I chose to go
To the US.
to the US for a year, just a year, because I'd been working here flat out for about 7 years. And there can be a lot of frustration sometimes when you're working here with there's so many challenges. That's what I can say.
We're going to talk about that.
We will talk about that.
We'll definitely talk about that.
So the US thing, I got myself organized. I had a kid. My little apartment was a penthouse apartment, a 2-bedroom at the time, which was my first one when I came back to Kenya. After, of course, the stint with that furnished accommodation place. I asked my neighbor downstairs, just casually, I said, I want to travel for a year, but I want somebody to babysit my home, or house sit my home, if you like. So she passed on the word. I had done a small flyer of this photographic. I just captured a picture and I sent out that thing and I said, whoever wants to come and stay here, they're welcome. 2-3 days later, she came with this expatriate who had just arrived. I was looking for accommodation. And he walked in. He said, I love your place. And here is the check. When you move out, I move in. And I'm so excited because I had 3 weeks to go before I went to the US. Then around 2 weeks after that, I was invited to go to an event here, one of the events. And I met very interesting people who had, various conversations lead to various conversation. So out of this conversation, I changed my mind from going to the US.
Oh, really?
Exactly that.
So you didn't make it to the US?
I had my visa, my ticket, my everything, but I didn't. And then when I changed, I will explain to you why on that one later.
Okay.
When I changed, I realized I have no home. Somebody just paid my home. So I had to find another home.
Yeah.
So I began very quickly to look around what I like, and I found another penthouse somewhere. I kitted it as my home, innocently, really. This was never a business idea, ever. I put my home together, and I'm sitting there for 2 weeks in it, and someone else calls me and says, I saw your flyer. Is that apartment still available? I said, actually, that one is gone, but I have another one. This is my home of 2 weeks. So they come in with this other expatriate, and she moves in and says, I'm moving in on the 7th. That was giving me 7 days. But they didn't know I lived there at the time. Yeah. I'm moving in 7 days. So I said, okay, well, that's great. It's looking like I'm making some money here. So I packed my bags. I found another home. I did it up. This is the genesis of one residence. It just moved from one apartment to what it is today.
It's a series of people falling in love with what you have done with this space.
Yes.
Over and over and over again.
Yes.
You started off, as you said, as your own employer, your own employee. So when exactly did it become a company?
2011, I was moonlighting. What they call moonlighting. I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing. Remember, I was to go to the US, and then I changed my mind, but I
Why
have
did
no
you
more
change your mind
income.
about the US, by the way?
No, because the reason I was going to the US was for more inspiration, because I'd gone through a lot of challenges with my first businesses, not because of the business itself, because of the people I was working with. And it never changes. Even now, human resources is a challenge for any employer. So I was not used to the kind of stressful work life I was going through because of the people that I had employed. Or the people I was employing, the quality of people I was employing, or because of many things going wrong, from stealing to many other things. And I do things with my full heart, and I trust people when I hire them.
Because you trust too much, exactly. I
trust so much. So when I went through that so many times, I was tired. I wanted to wrap my bags, go to get some inspiration in another land, and then come back again with another energy to do something. But before I could do that, that's why when I met some people in this event who were all global minded, and we talked about different things, and it flipped my mind, and I felt like I can hang around for a little bit more and see what I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, One Residence, where it is, it's quite a big deal right now, if you ask me, and I'm sure anyone who, feel free, go ahead and Google One Residence, you'll be shocked. So it became a company 8 years ago. Could you give
in
me
2012.
in 2012? So
yes.
that's give or take 7 years ago.
Yes.
So what type of growth have you seen since 2012 to this particular point? We are in 2019. What would you say has changed? What have you done with this particular company?
To be very honest, I feel very blessed. I cannot explain how I feel about this business of mine. It grew from one to the next. Like I said to you, the first one was taken within 3 weeks. I was in another one, and then in 5 weeks it was taken, and then I was in another one, in another. So I grew so quickly, but even then, without knowing it was a business that I could say this is a business, I had never heard of this model of business before. This was a survival instinct that was leading me from one to the next. But I mean, from then, from one apartment to where we are, it's just such grace. It just been amazing, but a lot of hard work. You know, it's very easy for people to see something succeed and think it just comes like that. I've worked 24/7 for so many days. I can, for example, fly from here to the US, and you know, there's the jet lag issue, the time imbalance. I will use that time to work for my Kenyan office, and then I will sleep for a few hours because you can't regulate the sleep. And then I go to my meetings, and then I go back to work to the Kenyan office. So it takes a lot of work, but obviously passion is a driver to this. It demands everything you've got. Yeah, you have to die with it or rise with it. So you have to love what you do to survive this thing. You know, I'm hoping this story can actually give a girl like me, because I know the girl I was when I grew up, I'm the same girl, give them that hope to know you don't need to know no one to make yourself. You don't need to know anybody. Just trust your instinct and put the hard work. Yeah, because that's what I see is lacking a little bit these days. Things are so easy to come by, you want to, but hard work pays. The kind of clients that I serve and the kind of people that I'm serving, it was never an intention charting that direction, but I found the people who fitted within what I like to do. And they happen to be expatriates, really, only. Majority of everyone, all my clients are expatriates, yeah.
We sip some tea and give you a breather. When we come back, we take a look at One Residence Apartments.